Now I invite the next speaker, Dr. Altamesh Sheikh, to speak on ITS FOXI recommendations on thyroid disorders in pregnancy.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's a proud privilege to stand in front of all of you, which is just kind of a day before Women's Day, so happy Women's Day to all of you, all the women here and all the men, those who are either brothers, fathers, and husbands. Right. So if you've heard the lecture by Karthik and Dr. Uday Fatke, I think I'm going to take you exactly to those slides what our Indian Thyroid Society and FOXI, that's the ITS FOXI 2019 recommendations talk about. That's why the slides that you would see would actually be from their logos and their slides. It's not going to be the Altamesh Sheikh slides. Right. So touching upon a little about thyroid physiology in pregnancy, just before we enter, we all are stressed for some or the other thing in life, but mind you, the lady who's just got pregnant has kind of a natural stress to the thyroid gland, and that is where she needs to be respected more, because the increase in estrogen, which leads to high 2 to 3-fold of TBG, increase in total T3 and T4, which kind of raises it to around 1.5 times. It's also because of the similarity in the HCG and TSH structure, and the increase in peripheral metabolism of thyroid hormone both, and increase in plasma volume. Those who want to take photo, wait for 3 seconds, I'll complete the slide. Yes. Non-functioning fetal thyroid until 10 to 12 weeks, and there is an increased demand of both T3, T4 up to around 30 to 50%. Photos allowed. Right, so the effect of HCG on thyroid function is really important. They are like kind of a mirror image of each other, and this is how it would look. This is an age-old slide. I have read these slides in my MBBS in 1996, and I think they still hold a gold standard absolutely of showing it to audiences right now also. The question is, we will take you through some slides which will talk about what are the TSH cutoffs, why should you do TSH universally, at what level you should do treat, not treat, and how would you monitor after pregnancy? These are some of the answers that ITS FOXI as a guideline has given. First guideline, which came in 2012, was by the ITS itself, and then they got revised because of so many reasons that are here. And then in 2019, we shook hands with our gynec colleagues, and then we are here with this particular objective of a clinical decision-making, which is going to be a shared decision-making between the team of the gynecologist and the endocrine or the treating physician that these are involved. Because of the paucity of time, we will touch upon the most important part of the guideline, and that's where we now roll out over here. That if you take TSH value of more than 4, that's why around 82% of the patients may be missed, and that's the reason that so many guidelines have come up, not just from India, UK, and US, others also, to talk about that we need kind of a universal screening during pregnancy and make it completely available for all. And that's the first recommendation from ITS FOXI, which talks about that all pregnant females should be screened at first antenatal visit by measuring TSH levels, which is so very important. So what is the range? We've heard in the previous 2 lectures in this hall as well as the earlier hall that there are a lot of changes in reference ranges, and let us understand this particular slide, photos allowed. ITS says take the guideline of TSH of first, second, and third trimester, 2.5, 3, and 3, which is completely in agreement with European guidelines of 2014. However, in 2017, the ATA guideline talked about use a locally derived reference ranges from a specified pregnant population. Now, what does this mean? In future, with a lot of number of studies, and because we have so many people interested in thyroid, there can be studies, and we will conclude that people staying in Shaniwarwada have this is the ranges in their pregnancy. People staying around JW are having this particular range. So that is what is the proud privilege also about doing these kind of studies and having a local TSH values. However, the ATA 2017 also says if the above is not available, then use the upper TSH reference limit of around 4, which is so very important guidance. So automatically it boils down to what ITS and ETA have said accordingly. That's the 2.5, 3, and 3 as the trimesteric specific cutoffs for TSH. What would happen in hypothyroidism in pregnancy? We should be talking to our patients about this. This is a treatable condition. This is a cheap condition. This is a sasta, saral, sundar, tikau problem, जो कि आपको pregnancy में लेना है, and उसके बाद में we can actually get out of it. And which patients, that also we'll talk about. So not only maternal, not only fetal, even after the baby is born, there could be some neonatal stress, of respiratory or hyperbilirubinemia, and there are quite a number of studies which actually talk about the whole thing. Looking into a kind of subclinical hypothyroidism, what does the ITS FOXY guideline say? If it is untreated, there can be a placental abruption with subclinical hypo in pregnancy. There are almost more than double the chances for preterm birth, also associated with multiple adverse maternal and neonatal outcomes, in addition to which the photos you took earlier when I showed the neonatal slide. And that also it is important to treat even these patients when you have the data and when there is kind of infertility also, that I'm going to show you in the subsequent slides. What would happen if you have this particular lady who's got this TSH values? I think it's an important slide, photos you can take. During pregnancy, all overt hypothyroidism TSH more than 2.5 should be treated. Overt hypo 2.5 up to around 1.6 to 2 microgram per kg body weight, and maintain the TSH to a euthyroidism level of less than equal to 2.5. And patients with pre-existing, so those who had already an elevated TSH and are on treatment and now they become pregnant, the dose should be increased by around 30% as soon as pregnancy is diagnosed. And usually in clinical setting, we don't wait for UPT or HCG. We say as soon as it is diagnosed means as soon as the lady misses her period. And monitoring, the recommendation is regular TSH monitoring approximately every 4 to 6 weeks until the mid-gestation of around 4 to 4.5 months, and then at least once near 28 weeks where you would want to do your glucose for these patients, if not done earlier, that's the time. We have seen a lot of people doing TSH and T3T4 every week for pregnancy. Please suddenly don't become gynecologists and start doing T3T4 TSH. There are a lot of other things that needs to be done for a pregnant lady. So near term around 28 weeks, and then leave the reports there within the target. Also for subclinical hypothyroidism, to be treated absolutely with LT4 levothyroxine when it's more than 10. TPO positivity, treat completely when it's between 4 to 10. Now, it also says in the gray zone that LT4 therapy can be considered for TPO negative women between 4 to 10 of TSH, and if TPO positive, TSH between 2.5 to 4. If there is a definite loss of pregnancy earlier in history, then this needs to be treated. Postpartum patient in patients with hypothyroidism. For example, you had a lady who has had treatment already started before she became pregnant. Postpartum, they should be reverted back to pre-pregnant dosage, and TSH level should be rechecked after around 1.5 months or 6 weeks. In the gray zone, the recommendation talk about with newly diagnosed hypothyroidism first time in pregnancy, some women whom LT4 is initiated during pregnancy may not require LT4 postpartum at all. In such cases, discontinue, especially if the dose was mild, somewhere around less than 50. If more than 75, be a little cautious in reducing the doses. If it is discontinued, and TSH then should be checked around 1.5 months or so. In women with thyroid autoimmunity, those who were newly diagnosed in pregnancy, they may need annual monitoring with TSH after stopping also in these patients. What about people or ladies with thyroid autoimmunity? So there have been a lot of studies about the whole thing of subclinical hypothyroidism, overt hypothyroidism, and infertility with patients in pregnancy. Now what do these tell us? They tell us that autoimmunity and miscarriage or preterm in around delivery is completely possible if these patients are not treated on time, and the recommendation that comes out with all the available evidences are that women with thyroid autoimmunity who are euthyroid in the early stages of pregnancy are at risk of developing hypothyroidism and should be monitored with TSH at least once in every trimester, at least up to second trimester. So at least 2 or 3 times in the first 6 months. And in the gray zone, the LT4 therapy can be considered in euthyroid pregnant women with TPO positive and history of pregnancy loss. Hyperthyroidism, we have immediate back-to-back one antithyroid drug session, so I think I would show you directly the slide of the recommendation, and which talks about the overt hypothyroidism diagnosed during pregnancy. Thionomides are the treatment of choice. However, look at the second line. PTU is recommended during first trimester, followed by a switch to methimazole or carbimazole beginning in the second trimester. Also, those who are on low doses, now that's important consideration because thyrotoxicosis reduces, or hyperthyroidism reduces as we move ahead in pregnancy. It's a natural cause of the disease where nature itself tries to protect the pregnancy. And that is why the third line, in women on low doses of methimazole or PTU, these drugs may be stopped. For example, 5 to 10 milligram or less, or 100 to 200 milligram of PTU. And such patients should be monitored every 1 to 2 weeks to assess maternal and fetal thyroid status. If the mother is euthyroid but positive for TRAb, TRAb is TSH receptor antibody, possibility of fetal toxicosis could be there if the FHR is more than 160. We need to rule out a lot of other fetal tachycardia causes, and then start, once you've ruled out, then start on ATD to control the fetal thyrotoxicosis. This, of course, requires fetal medicine expert, gynecologist, and sonologist, and others. And if there's a subclinical hyperthyroidism, this may not warrant any treatment. With infertility, again, there are ovulatory disturbances because of so many issues between the hypothyroidism, infertility, which result in the interplay of the 5 factors at least portrayed in this particular slide between the hypothalamo-pituitary thyroid and hypothalamo-pituitary ovarian axis, which is just coming from top to bottom. There could be a decrease in androgen clearance, pseudo-feedback inhibition of FSH-LH, impaired LH response to GnR stimuli, high TRH or leading to hyperprolactinemia, and of course stromal depots and increased ovarian volume, which all would lead to an ovarian disturbance and may not have a good quality of egg or the ovum, and would lead to kind of infertility, because there may not be either fertilization, or there may not be a proper release of the egg, or they might not give an atmosphere conducive to the sperm so that the reactions takes place. In these cases where there is an involvement of IVF or the ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, here we need to get this, that given its potential to reduce the miscarriage rate, levothyroxine supplementation is recommended for infertile women with subclinical hypothyroidism who are undergoing IVF or ICSI. So what does our guideline recommend? Evaluation of TSH is recommended for all women seeking care for infertility, whether primary or secondary. Now this is very important. Even secondary infertility, the TSH needs to be volunteered. LT4 treatment is recommended for infertile women with overt hypothyroidism. The gray zone is LT4 may be considered in subclinical hypothyroidism women who are attempting natural conception given its potential benefits compared to its minimal risk. Subclinical hypothyroidism women undergoing IVF or ICSI should be treated with levothyroxine with the goal to be around less than 2.5. So target of euthyroidism is the same of TSH less than 2.5. However, LT4 may be considered in euthyroid autoantibody positive women who are undergoing ART. ART was either IVF or ICSI, given its potential benefits in comparison to its minimal risk. And I think that there I rest my case, and over to chairpersons. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
The next session is anti-thyroid drugs, how much and how long, by Dr. Bhattacharya.